Welcome to the UC20 USB driver installation on a Linux OS, and I'm using 80 commands on module after the USB driver is loaded successfully. We can use the module in the Linux OS only after adding the module's information on the Linux kernel. To modify the driver source code, you first need to find option.c through the kernel's directory. Open it and insert the VID and PID of the UC20 module. Find USB_device_ID and option_IDS and change vendor_ID to 0x05C6. Product_ID into 0x9003. And then save the option.c file and hit escape. We now go back to the system file directory of Linux 3.6. We now modify kernel configuration by executing the command make menu config. Afterwards, we modify the kernel configuration manually by going to device drivers, USB support, USB serial converter support, USB driver for GSM and CDMA modules. Select them and hit save. We can now compile and install Linux kernel by executing the make command. can go back to the main directory after compiling. And before using the UC20 module, we need to make sure that the two ports are readable, writable, and executable. Under the DEV subdirectory, find TTY USB 0 to TTY USB 4. These are the USB serial port of the UC20. We can now use the serial port tool to test 80 commands. Now we can select the serial port setup in the configuration window, where you can configure the serial port baud rate and other parameters. You can now execute 80 commands and communicate with the module.